So, this is going to be a question of the day, as always. And this time around, I'm going to be talking about an interesting little subject here. This one might get some interesting comments here and there. And like I said, you guys can either comment or video response, because I'm pretty sure people are going to be talking about this subject right here. The subject I'm going to be talking about, are some villains justified? What I mean is, are some of their actions, justifiable? Now I know there are plenty of villains out there like comic book supervillains, who do probably the most unspeakable things and are probably incredibly irredeemable. But there are some out there where you can kind of see where they're going to. I mean, what you can see why they're doing this. The two best examples are actually Magneto, in my opinion at least, and keep in mind, just my opinion. The two best ones that have justifiable reasons but go about doing it wrong is Magneto and Sinestro. Now, why I picked Magneto and Sinestro? First off, let's talk about Magneto. Now, Magneto's probably the only one of those few villains where you can see he's a bastard, but you kind of see where he's coming from. I mean, segregation's a terrible thing. What humans did to mutants throughout the years is just, really unforgivable. And you can kind of see where Magneto's going from. I mean, if he did a few things more differently, rather than, do some of those acts he did to wage war on humanity and, mass genocide on humanity, Magneto would probably get somewhere. He would probably have a good foothold on the world, at least in the mutant community, because you can kind of see where he's coming from. I mean, had he done a few things differently, not try to wipe out everyone and become an enema to the world, he might have gotten somewhere. People probably would have listened to him. I mean, he would have been a little more extreme about it. I think he would have been, if he did a few things differently, I think he would have been a little more extreme than Charles Xavier. But I think the world would have listened to him. Rather than him demanding stuff, he would have walked into, Congress or, the United Nations and given a speech, and they would have, listened to him. And he said, look, I can do this, I don't like humanity because they've done this and that, and if he worked a little more with Charles Xavier, maybe Magneto would have gotten somewhere. But also, you also have to look at that peace love thing doesn't work. Peace and love thing that Xavier doesn't seem to work all the time. So Magneto, you can kind of see where Magneto's coming from, where it's kind of like a little more extremism to it. So it's like two sides of a coin when you look at Magneto, where you can understand where he's coming from, but you really see, as we've seen, he's done some really messed up shit. But yeah, I have plenty of more reasons why I can see it. I can kind of relate to what Magneto's doing. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, bring up when you talk about villains that are kind of in some way relatable. Magneto's always the first one to talk about, to bring up. Now, moving on to Sinestro. Now, why I'm saying Sinestro is that this is a guy who believed that he was the first one to rebel against the Guardians. He was basically the one to say, "You guys are wrong. You guys are you're not helping the galaxy. I can." And in a way, you can see where Sinestro's coming from. I mean, the Guardian, he was the first one to see that, he could see through the ruse that the Guardians weren't helping the galaxy, they were really hurting it. And, had he done a few things, again, falls under, had he done a few things differently, he would have gotten somewhere. If he, left, rather than go about, trying to conquer the whole world, I think he would have gotten somewhere had he made a few more decisions, like if he left the Corps. But then again, this goes against Sinestro's principles that peace through power. So making the Sinestro Corps and rebelling against the Guardians, you can kind of see that because now Sinestro in some way has opened the doors to a lot of the Lanterns questioning the Guardians, especially after the Sinestro Corps War. So you can kind of see where Sinestro's coming from, and that's where he claims that he's opened their eyes to the Guardians' lies, and in some ways you can probably understand that because the Guardians are, they're no saints. So I can see where the Guardians are coming. Not the Guardians, Sinestro's coming from when he, rebelled against the Lantern Corps. I mean, had he done a few things differently, it could have gone somewhere. But you can kind of see where he's coming from, like just like Magneto. That's why I always, whenever people talk to me about justifiable villains, it's always Magneto and Sinestro for me. But yeah, I know there are plenty more comic book villains out there that, are completely insane, like Red Skull, Lex Luthor, so many guys. I mean, there are a lot of villains out there that are like, oh wow, you can't really defend that guy's actions. But yeah, there are a lot, but there are some out there that are like, okay, I can see what he's doing. I mean, it's not, I don't agree with it, but yeah, I can see basically what the whole thing is about. Like, yeah, you can see where he's coming from, but he's going about it the wrong way. So that's basically what it is. Like when I say relatable villains, or justifiable villains. Although I don't really condone or consider mass murder a justifiable reason. Never. But yeah. The better word for this would be probably, relatable villains. Like, you can relate to what he's doing, and you can understand why he's doing it, but you wouldn't really condone it. That's, I think, what I'm trying to get across here. So, yeah, you guys, comment below, video respond. Either way, it's all cool. But yeah, I'm pretty much done here. You guys tell me, what do you think? Video respond, like I said, comment below. I'm really interested to know what, and also, what other villains do you guys think you can understand, or you can understand their actions and whatnot, and why they do what they do. Well, I know there are a lot of villains out there that you can't really condone their actions. You can never condone any of these villains' actions, but you can understand why they're doing it. That's basically what it is. Like, you can understand why they're doing it, and you can't really hate them for it. It's kind of confusing, and I'm trying really hard to explain it, but yeah, I think I'm done here.